Hi, my name is Kenneth Lay, and this is my presentation on the principles of design. My 7 design principles are immersion, interference effects, mnemonic device, normal distribution, nudge, operant conditioning, and picture superiority effect. First is immersion. Immersion is defined as a state of mental focus so intense that awareness of the real world is lost, generally resulting in a feeling of joy and satisfaction. I chose Company K as my website for the example. It's basically interior designer, architect, but I feel like this website kind of captures you and how it uses pictures and words to kind of convey his work, and also the textures in the background kind of just make you want to get into the website a little bit more. Immersion is characterized by challenges that can be overcome, context where a person can focus without significant distraction, clearly defined goals, immediate feedback with regards to action and overall performance, a loss of awareness of the worries and frustrations of everyday life, a feeling of concern regarding matters of the self, for example, awareness of hunger or thirst, a modified sense of time, and for example, hours can pass by in what seems like minutes. My second principle, interference effects, is defined by a phenomenon in which mental processing is made slower and less accurate by competing mental process. It was a little difficult for me to find a website that kind of conveys this principle, but I chose this one because you don't really know that he's a graphic designer from the little banner up here. You kind of think he's a farmer, you know. And a lot of designers, I think, use interference effects purposely to kind of make their designs not so literal, I guess. But at times they can be, they can interfere with how you perceive things. And there's 3 types of interferences: Stroop interference, an irrelevant aspect of a stimulus triggers a mental process that interferes with processing involving a relevant aspect of the stimulus. One of the examples is the time it takes to name the color of words is greater when the meaning and color of the words conflict. For example, the word red that's colored blue, you kind of perceive it as red before blue just because of the word. The second type of interference is Garner interference, which is an irrelevant variation of a stimulus triggers a mental process that interferes with processing involving a relevant aspect of the stimulus. An example is the time it takes to name the shapes is greater when they are presented next to shapes that change with each presentation. The last type of interference is retroactive interference. It's learning interferes with existing memories. For example, phone numbers. When you try to remember a phone number, you usually recall older phone numbers that you already knew. A third principle is mnemonic device, a method of reorganizing information to make the information easier to remember. And the 3 types of mnemonic devices are first letter of item to be recalled or used to form the first letters in a meaningful phrase or combined to form an acronym. For example, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally is used to name the order of operants for algebra and stuff. Keyword, word that is similar to a word or phrase that is linked to a familiar bridging image to aid in recall. Rhyme, use of rhyming word sequences to aid in recall. Feature name, a word that is related to one or more features of something that is linked to a familiar bridging image to aid in recall. And for my website, I chose this nice website that Morgan chose, just because of this is an example of a keyword, I think. Just that, she does lettering, typography, illustration. It kind of sums up, her attitude towards design. Wants people to see her stuff. So yeah. Sorry. Fourth principle is normal distribution, which I could not really find a specific website, but the definition, a term used to describe a set of data that when plotted forms the shape of a symmetrical bell-shaped curve. And it's basically describing that designers should, not really, but it's basically saying designers should design to the average standard, to the normal person, but there really is no average, because someone that is average in one aspect is not average in another. So when you design, if you're going to design simple, for example, I feel like this website conveys normal distribution in that it's extremely simple and does, I guess, cater to the average person. However, just the design and the layout of it is not average, which I think just anyone could appreciate. My fifth principle is nudge, a method for predictably altering behavior without restricting options or significantly changing incentives. Some examples of nudging techniques: defaults, select defaults that can do the least harm and most good. Feedback, provide visible and immediate feedback for actions and inactions. Incentives, avoid incentive conflict and align incentives to preferred behaviors. Structured choices, provide the means to simplify and filter complexity to facilitate decision making. Visible goals, make simple performance measures clearly visible so that people can immediately assess their performance against a goal state. Oops. For this website, I chose just a generic website with a generic navigation, and that it does have structured choices, links that lead you to where you want to go. Everything's pretty straightforward for this website. Sub navigation. Yep. My sixth principle is operant conditioning, a technique used to modify behavior by reinforcing desired behaviors and ignoring or punishing undesired behaviors. 3 operant conditioning techniques: positive reinforcement, which is pretty straightforward, associating behavior with a positive condition. Negative reinforcement, associating behavior with the removal of a negative condition. And punishment, decreases possibility of a behavior by associating the behavior with a negative condition. Example of positive conditioning concerning websites, or actually punishment. The UTA website. Well, you guys all know this. Sometimes you log into the UTA website and you log in wrong, it kind of punishes you by not letting you in the website. So it's and as well as other websites where you make an account, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. Yep. And my seventh and last principle, picture superiority effect. The definition, pictures are remembered better than words. And that was very true. Pictures are more recognizable than words. This is beneficial when people are exposed to information for a short period of time, and also used to improve the recognition and recall of key information. Again, I'm using the Company K website as an example of picture superiority effects. As you see, almost all the links of this guy's page have, very nice pictures that kind of convey who he is and is also his work. And so yeah, that's my presentation. It was a little sketchy, but hope you guys enjoyed it.